It's Tuesday, August 9, 2022. Markets across the board down today. There's just a lot of anticipation of what's going to happen tomorrow, so everything pretty flat today. Tomorrow's the day where we're going to get the CPI number, and many economists are estimating that the CPI number for July will come in at 8.7%, down from the current 9.1%. And that sounds like great news, and I'm sure the markets will take it as great news, and the markets will take it and run. In reality, let's talk about why we may see a lower CPI tomorrow. Well, one of the biggest things will be because gas prices have come down. Now, how did gas prices come down? Well, we had to deplete. We're continuing to deplete our strategic petroleum reserves in order to push gas prices down. So this is really a very artificial gas price, because gas prices would continue to go up if we were not using our petroleum reserves, our strategic petroleum reserves, which I think is extremely dangerous. It's going to be extremely costly at the end. And I think it really makes us even more vulnerable as a nation. But that being said, that is going to play a big role in why I believe we're going to see the CPI number come down tomorrow. Will it be 8.7? It could be 8.5. It could be 8.4. But I do believe it is going to come down, and I do believe the markets are going to take this and run. But you have to ask yourself, you may be paying 70 cents or $1 less per gallon today while we continue to deplete our strategic petroleum reserves. And so now you're saving 70 cents or $1 a gallon. Is that really going to make a big difference in your life? And if it does come down to 8.7%, you know that the true real inflation number is 2 times the number they're telling us. So we're still going to be at 17% real inflation, at least, depending on where you live. It might even be more. You're saving 70 cents or $1 on a gallon of gas, which is great. But let's not forget, at least where I live, I'm paying over $5 a gallon, but we were paying, 3 something last year. So I'm still paying $2 more than I was a year ago. This is not going to really have any positive effect on the average American household. So whatever the news may be, the markets are going to love it, but it's going to make no difference in your life or mine. Now, let's talk about core CPI. This excludes energy and food. It is expected to rise 0.5% as rents and services rose. So it's expected to come in at around 6.1%. Home listings. This was an interesting article today on Fox Business. Home listings surge at record rate as housing market starts to cool. The number of active listings soared 30.7% from the previous year. Think about that. We're up nearly 31%. Listings up nearly 31% from the previous year. 30-year fixed mortgage rate, I checked it today, 5.53%. A year ago, it was 2.77%. So we're going to continue to see people priced out of this market with these super high home prices. We're going to continue to see less qualified buyers, as people who once qualified for one of these homes just months ago no longer can, because rates are over 5.5% today. So what is your real estate agent going to tell you now? Before they were telling us, well, that prices are going up because we have a shortage of inventory. Well, we're beginning to see prices coming down, and we're going to continue to see prices coming down because this shortage of inventory is over. We're going to see more and more homes pile up on the market. People who are beginning to realize what's happening to this economy are going to look to the exits. They're going to sell the house. They're going to sell the vacation house. We still have people working out these moratorium deals, or these mortgage forbearance deals with their banks, and they're going to be forced to sell. You also just have people who may be looking at jobs in other states or other areas going to sell. You just have the normal real estate market where people are going to sell homes for whatever reason. They're getting older, they want to downsize, they want to move, they're taking a job somewhere else. More inventory is coming, and let's not forget the 1.8, 1.9 million new homes under construction by the home builders. So we're going to see more and more homes. If a spouse loses a job, you're going to see them have to sell their house, right? If a husband or a wife loses their job, half their income's gone, they're going to sell the house. We talked a week or two ago about the surge in car repossessions, that in June we'd already seen 2.2 million autos repoed in America. And last year, in the year 2021, the total was 1.8 million. By June, we'd already had 2.2 million auto repos in America. That number we could see, that's telling us we may see 4+ million cars repossessed in America. Let's not forget this. This is the point I want to make. The auto market is 6 to 12 months ahead of the real estate market. If people cannot make their car payment, that's telling you and I they're probably going to have a very, very difficult time making their house payment. And they may already not be making their house payment. When you look at 35% of small businesses in the US, they did not make their rent payment on their business. So there's a lot going on behind the scenes that we're not seeing, that we're not being told, as far as small businesses not paying rent, homeowners, more and more delinquencies. Foreclosures are up 700% compared to last year. And the number is still very, very small. But we're going to watch this number begin to accelerate the farther into this year as we get into fall and winter. And I believe we're going to see huge trouble in the housing market in 2023. So whatever your real estate agent's excuse is today of why prices are up, they're not going to be up for much longer because they're beginning to come down. Inventory is beginning to flood the housing market. And one thing that is not going to flood the housing market is qualified buyers. Nobody talks about that. You have all these homes now coming to the market, all these listings. You have all these existing residential homes, all these new homes. But we are losing more and more qualified buyers. So you have this pool of buyers just shrinking and shrinking and shrinking. So no matter what happens to the inventory of qualified buyers is what these people should be worried about, because there are less and less qualified buyers, people with good credit, people that can come in with a solid down payment, people that have been at their jobs for over a year, have enough income, don't have too much debt. The banks are going to begin tightening up, ladies and gentlemen, but this is going to be the problem. The qualified buyer is going to become a rare commodity. Home builders have found themselves with too many homes as demand has cooled off. We're going to see a period where supply could actually exceed demand. And look, everybody wants to buy a house. You may have a lot of demand, but again, as I said, you're going to have a limited amount of qualified buyers. Robert Shiller, the gentleman who predicted, or one of them who predicted the 2008 housing bubble, said this: "We are headed for trouble." Interesting article today coming from The Hedge. It's titled "Plunge in Gas Prices Sparks Surge in Real Spending." National gas average right now is a little bit above $4. 2 months ago, it was over $5. Interesting data here. Bank of America card spending data, which measures aggregated Bank of America credit and debt card data, was up 5.3% year over year on a per household basis in July. Now, I read an article also on The Hedge today. More foot traffic at malls. Malls are seeing more retail spending. But when I read this article, I think we have to go back and look at this 5.3% increase year over year based on credit and debit card data. How much of this, I'm sure a majority of it, was credit. But they're saying that a lot of this has to do with gas prices coming down. So people are saving 50 cents or 70 cents or $1 a gallon. So they're going to the malls, they're going shopping, they're spending on retail because gas prices are down. What do you think about that? Is that why people are spending more money? Are they really spending their own money or money they don't have, such as their credit card? Let me know your thoughts down below. But if you're out spending because gas is down $1 a gallon and you're out spending now, how foolish. How foolish. But we do have a society that just cannot give up the lifestyle. They will just not give in. And if gas prices came all the way down to $2 tomorrow, how many people would be rushing out to the malls, would be rushing out on Amazon, would be spending that money that they weren't putting in their gas tank, they'd be spending it somewhere else. People in America just cannot save, they cannot prepare, and this is why so many of them are going to be in so much trouble. And they're in so much trouble right now. So many people in trouble. Many don't even know it yet, and many do, and they still ignore the warning signs. How many people right now cannot sleep at night because they have so much debt and they are paycheck to paycheck? They're 2 rent payments behind, 4 car payments behind, $25,000 in credit cards, just paying the bare minimum or doing balance transfers. How many people are just continuing to repeat and repeat and repeat the same mistakes, getting deeper and deeper into debt, and hoping and believing that the Calvary is coming, that somehow, some way, the Fed is going to save us, inflation going down is going to save us, there's going to be some boom in the job market with well-paying jobs. It's not going to happen. It really isn't. And these people just living for today, not thinking about what's going to happen tomorrow. And tomorrow's getting close, ladies and gentlemen. Time is one of the most important assets we have, and people are completely wasting it, wasting this asset when they should be taking advantage of it and doing smart things, like not buying stuff they don't need, buying things with money they don't have. How foolish. And we're going to find out who the fools were when the rug gets pulled out from this economy, from these markets. We're going to find out who the fools were. We're going to find out who has staying power. We're going to find out who really walked the walk, who really prepared. Lack of fertilizer will affect the U.S. food supply chain. This was an article I was reading earlier today. Just to highlight this, they said these ranchers out in Texas are selling their livestock because they cannot afford to feed the cattle. No one, they said, is buying cows to raise. The Texas Farm Bureau said last week that much of the current breeding herd is going to processing plants. Calf numbers will fall in the years ahead. Meat and fertilizer shortage coming, ladies and gentlemen. I was reading, it takes 1 to 2 years to even make fertilizer. We have this huge shortage, and we're going to have meat this year, even though the price of it is skyrocketing. But the ranchers say, watch out for 2023 and 2024. And if you are not raising calves right now to replace the older cows, the older cattle, then we're going to have a depletion of beef a year, 2, 3 years from now. Beef is going to be so expensive, and fertilizer. We're not going to have fertilizer to grow the food to feed the cattle or to feed us. And so we really need to be thinking right now: do you have enough food? Do you have enough water? Are you freeze drying your food? Are you canning food? Are you putting canned food away? Are you putting emergency food away? Are you preparing your food to last 3, 4, 5, or 10 years? Most people are not. You watch these channels where people can their own foods, dry their own foods, preserve their own foods, and we used to laugh at that stuff. And I'll tell you, it's no joke now. If you have the resources or the means to do something like that, I would say do it. If you have the money to buy emergency food, do it. The worst case that could happen is nothing bad happens and you have extra food. Great. The worst thing you could do is go donate it to some homeless people and help people. But again, what if we have a grid go down, a cyber attack, natural disaster, man-made disaster, whatever it may be? If you're without power, if you don't have the energy, the resources, you're going to be very happy that you have these prepped foods, these emergency foods, these freeze-dried foods, the canned foods, etc. So I say better safe than sorry, ladies and gentlemen, because this the things that you and I are reading in the news. We never ever thought, even 5 years ago, we never thought what's happening now was even humanly possible, and it's happening. And I want to just end with 2 quick articles. Over 1,000 flights delayed today, nearly 200 canceled today. More dysfunction in the system. And as I said earlier, if we had grids go down, a cyber attack, we are not prepared. We cannot even get airplanes off the ground at this point. We are so dysfunctional. The system is so broken, so dysfunctional. Imagine if we had a national emergency, we would not know what to do. And last article coming from wolfstreet.com, SoftBank lost $39 billion in 6 months, wiping out the bubble gains of the vision funds since 2017. Easy come, easy go. If you don't know, SoftBank is a Japanese multinational conglomerate holding company headquartered out of Tokyo, Japan. Heavily invested in technology and the financial sector. Not a word of this at all. This happened, I read this about 2 days ago. Not a word of this on any of the business channels, not a word. Does not affect the markets whatsoever. But think about this. A multinational conglomerate holding company loses $39 billion in 6 months and nobody even talks about it, has no effect on the US markets. Remember, all of the financial system and banking system now is all tied together. We are all connected. Be very careful where you keep your money, how much money you're keeping in these banks. These banks do not have your best interest at heart. They have their own best interests at heart. If we begin to see banks losing money like this on a regular basis, they're going to begin to do bail-ins. They're going to take your money. So be very, very cautious. These banks will take your money. They will rob you. So don't keep all your eggs in one basket, because they'll just tell you easy come, easy go. All that hard work in order to earn that money, for somebody to just steal it, somebody that you entrusted. But remember, when you open up an account at a bank, read the fine print. That is now their money. You just gave them that money. And if they need to take it in order to survive, they're going to take it. You won't survive. They will survive. They'll just do a bail-in. And you're on your own. Easy come, easy go. I'm going to leave it there today, ladies and gentlemen. God bless you all. Have a phenomenal day. Please, please give this video a like, share it. Make sure you subscribe. God bless.